Welcome to the Opie and Anthony. Ooh, it's in my shoes. Ramon, clean this up.
The Opie and Anthony Show.
Jimmy couldn't stop for 2 hours that we're doing this show to not eat. Is that where he is? He's off eating?
He's either eating or taking a leak. The guy is just a mess. He comes running on stage like, did you guys try these cookies? They're unbelievable.
Yeah, he came running past going, oh, these cookies are unbelievable.
And then I'll have
Oprah, Tony, Happy New Year.
There he is, Ted Nugent.
Ted.
And then later...
Did you guys miss me?
Not at all. Yeah, of course we did.
See you little monkeys.
You guys, you give us great radio. But really fast, and I'll have to hear about it later with Jimmy. Like, why am I so fat? I'm a disgusting mess, blah, blah, blah.
Because he's eating cookies
but he ran
at
right
every
for
spare moment.
Yeah, he ran right for the cookies as soon as we took a break.
Ted's got the winter look going.
It's like Santa Claus with a clock, man. How you guys doing?
Were you able to get any guns in here or what?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, peace and love's my thing.
That's it.
Peace and love.
Peace and love when you travel?
Yeah, you want a Pez? Oops, wrong one, sorry.
The firearms convention?
No, please. I thought this was the SHOT Show.
The SHOT Show.
Yeah, that's the shooting. It's actually coming up in a couple weeks. I come here every year for that. It's the Shooting, Hunting, Outdoor TED Show. And it's like an absolute tsunami of hardware and sporting goods and weapons of mass protein construction.
Pick up some things.
And
you
guys,
need.
and I want you to know, I wouldn't get out of the swamp for just anybody. You guys are some lucky radio sons of bitches, because I was just in a swamp yesterday. I just finished the greatest rock and roll rhythm and blues jihad any guitar player could ever dream of. Up there we do a whiplash bash, because I like to give myself a big Christmas present every year. We just wrapped that up. But I have to brag on XM satellite radio.
Yes.
I am the czar of sonic bombast because of my ungodly funk brother rhythm section. Mr. Tommy Clefettos and Mr. Barry Sparks are the Funk Brothers Supreme. What those guys do to my music, we just did 5 shows. I've done almost 6,000 shows in my life. These were the greatest 5 shows in my life. I got down on my knees every night and I just went, God, thank you.
Ted, you know what the amazing thing is? I had no idea if he was talking about music or shooting.
I know.
For the first
Is there a
5
difference?
minutes
Is there a difference?
I don't know.
Well, at my concerts, I do shoot. I'm the only guy that does it. You know, you're going to go see Tom Petty?
No.
He doesn't do any shooting at us. Can I drink this, please?
I want to know why we're never invited to any of these.
There is now. See, your handlers suck because there is a huge, greasy, open invitation to Oprah and Tony. Anytime you guys
loves calling me Oprah.
Anytime you guys want to come and wallow in my Afro Sheen Grease Rhythm and Blues Rock and Roll Fest, you guys, it's official. I have witnesses. You guys are welcome anytime you want to get naked and do the Primal Scream.
Can we do our show live from your ranch or something?
No. No. Actually, you could. It would be. I used to do that. I used to do my show from the barn.
Right.
I used to get out and salute the sun coming up every day and just kind of fortify my spirit and attitude. Yeah. Yes, you guys would love.
I'd like to go there and blow off a few rounds.
We could blow off many rounds every day. We do the ballistic jihad every day. Yes.
That's some fun stuff.
Well, we're back in New York. You got to call the show again and fire off some stuff.
Have you ever had before he died? Did Jerry Garcia ever do any shooting on your show?
I don't think so.
Well, see, that's the problem.
No.
Which is why he's dead. He didn't look forward to that discipline, that hand-eye coordination, that American dream of bullseye-ness. Bullseye-ness.
Well, you need all 5 fingers to shoot a gun, though, don't you?
Well, to play guitar, too, but he did all right.
No, he did great. I love the dead.
So you guys are XMing up a storm. I salute you guys. God bless your American radio dream. You are obviously having fun.
We're having a great time. And
this is where you go. This is where you go to voice your opinions.
If you really want to do it unabashed,
unfettered.
I'm like Rosa Parks, but I don't just refuse to give up the seat on the bus. I drive the bus up the ass of the white scum who tried to get me to give it up. You see the difference there?
I can.
You don't just have
see what you're talking
you don't just
about,
have
Ted.
a middle finger. You use it.
Absolutely. Ted shakes it up everywhere he goes. We've had our run-ins with some callers. Well, you gotta love me. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult to agree with Ted 100%.
Why?
I gotta say
Name
that.
something you disagree with.
Well, no,
But you're like Rosa Parks?
I'm just.
You don't like Rosa Parks? I should somebody
No,
kick his ass.
he said that you are like Rosa Parks.
I am defiant.
That's something we're disagreeing
There's a
with.
status quo stupidity out there that says you've got to do guitar like this, you've got to stand for this political correctness. The American status quo is like a seat on a bus in Selma, and I ain't getting up. If you have a problem with that, eat me. You don't agree with that. You do agree with it. You're just playing devil's advocate because to take the opposite side, you have to be either dumb, stupid, or the devil.
I was actually
yes.
I was just doing.
Just say yes, Uncle Ted, and leave it.
But I was just doing a little joke on a comedy show. Yeah, sorry.
And it really went over good too. I'll do the humor here if you don't mind.
I didn't mean to
I'm the only
interject
guy here who gargled with Afro Sheen, so you have to follow my cues.
You're out there. Anthony, he asked you one thing you don't agree with.
What don't you agree with?
Something I was saying people in general. To tell you the
Yes,
truth, I think
indeed.
I agree 100% with
because
Ted.
the truth
But-
is just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
But the majority of people kind of find some fault in.
not the
in,
majority. A lunatic fringe.
Do you think it's a lunatic
You have to
fringe?
be like a sportsman for Kerry to not agree with me. Which, by the way, now that Bush got elected, the sportsman for Kerry can go back to their original job as Jews for Hitler. You've got to be retarded to be against the things that I stand for.
Now,
you find the things that I stand for in the United States Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, self-evident truth. It's so simple. See, I'm just such a simple guy. I'm so simple it's stupid. I want wood products. I plant trees. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I want meat. I kill stuff. You got a problem with that?
Not at all.
Well, then
What do you
drive
do if you want to
safely.
get laid?
I leave this radio show and go hang out with heterosexual people. Why do you ask?
Oh, Ted.
He just called us fags. No, he called you a fag.
Oh,
No, he said us. you're people too, stupid.
No. I think that was pointed at.
If I'm a homo, you're
You
homos.
see, somebody's got their radar working this morning.
I like
no,
that.
I took my
He just-
lessons from James Brown, which is why I drive across state lines on the rims of my pickup truck. So you'll have to catch up with my humor here. I'm from Detroit. You see, Detroit wasn't the murder capital because we're more violent. We're just better damn shots, okay? Write that down.
Nice.
Okay,
Very nice.
then,
Now,
fine.
Ted, what would you say to people that talk about the gun control issue? What type of where would you draw the line for guns that people should be able to own? Now, you know that
Well-
the assault weapon ban has been taken back.
Yeah, because that worked so good. The ban really saved a lot of lives, didn't it?
I agree that was ridiculous. But where should the line be drawn when people say, should people be allowed to own a howitzer?
Well, first of all, the right to keep and bear arms doesn't include a howitzer because.
But now how does that?
Because
Not
the
include a howitzer.
history of the Second Amendment was strictly about self-defense. And I think when you talk about self-evident truth, and as I travel this great country and I hang out with my electronic celebrants out here in a silly little place like Las Vegas, no matter where I go, at the airport last night, at the Starbucks this morning, at the cab stand, all these guys come up and say, hey, Uncle Ted, how you doing? How was your hunting season? They talk about, and they initiate the dialogue about the Second Amendment, typically 99% of the time, because everybody with conscience, logic, there's the trick, logic, would tell you that you have the right to defend yourself against evil. Nobody except like Courtney Love argues against that, you know. And if you and I took enough LSD, we would drool on the cue as well. My point is that I represent a self-evident basic truth that God gave me the gift of life. Not only do I have the right to defend it, I have an intellectual and moral and certainly a spiritual obligation to defend that precious gift of life. And if you attempt to compromise it, I will cut you in half. Any questions? And that
but
means
where
I have
is
the
the
right
limit?
to keep and bear. What do keep and bear means? On my person.
Now
on
that's
my
an
belt.
interpretation.
Well, and it's my interpretation,
but-
and it's everybody of sense and common sense and logic and decency that knows that if I encounter evil, I must be prepared to stop it. So let's just draw a common denominator line that I have the right to keep and bear arms that I can hold. There's a good start.
That just sounds like an interpretation.
Well, give me that's mine, and I stand by. I think it's really cool. What's yours?
Taking it
Or the devil's
at
advocate.
face value to defend yourself. Shouldn't that include setting up a claymore perimeter around your house?
I'm for that.
He's not going to argue
But
that.
I know he's not going to argue. But the point I'm trying to
see,
make
we
is
do agree 100%. You numbnut. No,
the point I'm trying to make is that would be ridiculous. But where do you then draw that line where all of a sudden it becomes something that has to be regulated, that has to be not regulated, but has to be legislated to the point where you can't get it anymore?
Well,
And that would be some type of gun control.
Fully automatic weapons have been completely controlled as much as anything could possibly be controlled since 1934.
Do you think people should be able to own those?
Well, not only do I think, but we do. There are over 2.5 million legally owned machine guns, which I created a brass rainbow last week. You'd get naked and get on your knees in front of me, bowing to the presence of the mighty brass rainbow. I shoot with citizens, SWAT, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, whether it was in the deserts of Iraq this summer or in the wilds of Texas or Michigan or Indiana. I shoot machine guns literally on I'd say a monthly basis.
Now, how do you legally do this?
Well, back in 1934, Al Capone, this is a little before Mayor Daley, even though they're almost exactly alike, when Al Capone didn't breed the original, what is her name, Janet Reno, and they gave birth to Mayor Daley. Machine guns were regulated because Al Capone, if you study but a modicum of the documented history, you'll see that it was indeed the mob who regulated citizen ownership of machine guns because the citizens were stopping too many mob attacks and assaults and control with equal firepower. So it goes back to a corruption that was completely out of control and remains out of control today in many instances, particularly in Chicago, where no citizen is allowed to own any gun at all, which is bizarre. It's bizarre to go, no, you people will be defenseless. I have given my decree. My name is Mr. Daley. Eat me.
How is that legal?
But it's unbelievable. You're Washington, D.C. And how's this? In America, the two most dangerous firearms violence epicenters are Washington, D.C. and Chicago, which are the only two places where you're not allowed to own anything, including a BB gun. In Illinois, you have to have a government-issued ID card to buy BBs. Do you feel safer yet? Anybody? So the whole thing is so mentally deficient. It is so anti-logic. In Texas, with all my buddies, all these almost 3 million machine guns that we own. I don't own any because I don't have a Class 3 license. But my buddies who are just bakers and welders and ranchers and cops and computer nuts and CEOs of hardware stores.
Presidents of the United States.
And we own machine guns, and how many crimes have been committed with them? None! Why would we want to stop something that isn't a problem? The point being, in those areas where you're not allowed to have any firepower, you can buy C4 explosives. Here's a message for Bono. For Mr. Was that his name, Bono of U2?
I think it's Bono.
Bono wants to ban guns to make it safer. I wonder if he's ever heard of the place called Dublin, Ireland, where guns have always been banned and you're not allowed to have C4 or surface-to-air missiles, which, by the way, you can buy in Dublin. Bono, hello, numbnut. See, but my point is, why don't we ban pterodactyls? Because I hear they're scary, huge, can fly into the playground and snatch children out with claws on their wings. Ooh, Diane McCarthy of New York, let's ban pterodactyls. They really scare me. Eat me, you retarded mongrel. I've got gun control. I can put two 10-millimeter Corbon rounds in the same hole at 25 yards in 1 second. That's gun control. If you have any questions, call 1-800-NUMBNUT, and Michael Jackson will try to interpret what Jesse Jackson and Al Not-So-Sharpton are trying to decipher from a drunken rage from Ted Kennedy.
Half these people want to kill you, and half these people agree with you.
And none of them have the balls who disagree. None of them have the intellectual fortitude to approach me and argue with me.
Grab the microphone.
They haven't. They got nothing. And if you want to argue with me, let's dance, because I'll make you look dumber than Michael Jackson's chimp.
Is there anyone that disagrees with Ted and wants to take him to task?
Come on.
Anyone brave enough to step up to the microphone?
You spineless wimps.
Anyone, step up to the microphone.
These are my buddies. These are my buddies. These people get it. These people know that they have a life that's sacred. They work really hard, and they have the right to defend that life. If you don't understand that, you're like an Aussie. An Aussie thing is going on, where all you can do is drool and stumble.
Anybody want to step up to the microphone? No one.
Wow, no.
One
They
guy.
got nothing.
All right, one guy.
Well, he wants to have fun, but
George.
Hey, George.
You think they should ban sale of cop killer bullets and machine gun conversion kits then?
What in God's name is a cop killer bullet? What is that?
Something that can go through a Teflon bulletproof vest.
Do you have an example of that? Guess what? 99%.
Oh, don't
here's
beat
the
him up,
statistic.
Ted. Jesus, it's just a question.
99%. But you got to do your
made a
homework.
threatening move there.
The information is universally available. Ted Kennedy attempted to ban cop killer bullets, and these are rounds that can defeat a Class 3 ballistic vest. Unfortunately, that would include 99%, not my figure. This is a figure from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the FBI Uniform Crime Study, in collaboration with the UN Small Arms Control Program and the Scotland Yard, just recently in 2001. And it would include 99% of bullets manufactured in the world today, because most of those vests won't stop any rifle round whatsoever, including your average squirrel bullet, your average turkey bullet, your average deer bullet. And guess how many cops have been killed with those bullets? None.
Are they talking for
bullets.
rifle though, or are they talking handgun?
Well, he's going
bullets?
back. He's going back to Sarah Brady's miscarriage back in the 80s with the KTW Teflon-coated bullets, which at the time had never ever killed a cop. They were only available to cops. But since they were made public, guess how many cops have been killed with a KTW? The original cop killer Ted
You don't
Kennedy.
cut anyone slack, even like Brady or McCarthy, just based on circumstance.
if
Perhaps
they
they're a little
ha- if-
upset that
if
their
they
loved
have
one was gunned down.
If their loved one was gunned down, I probably helped by making sure that laws are on the books, stopping the epidemic of recidivism, because 99% of loved ones killed in America are killed by some moron who the system let back out to kill again. It doesn't matter whether you did it with a pipe, brass knuckles, or a Buick. We shouldn't let monsters out of their cages. Everybody agrees with that unless you're retarded.
A lot of nods out there.
So the KTW bullet has been made available. And here's a statistic to chew on for a second. The most deadly shooting in America was the Washington, D.C. sniper. How many rounds per victim? 1. The most rounds ever fired in the commission of a violent crime in the United States was the North Hollywood bank robbery. 6,000 rounds fired. How many were killed in the North Hollywood 6,000 rounds? Nobody except the bad guys. So if you really wanted to study the issues, would you ban single-shot weapons because 11 out of 11 were killed? Or would you ban machine guns because 0 good guys were killed out of 6,000 rounds? I'm telling you, it's a scramble to feel good instead of do good.
I think a lot of people also say, though, if it was made more available to the general public,
they are available. Join the NRA. All you have to do is join the NRA. And the statistics come from the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and all these agencies in the global community, which suck, by the way. If you're a global community member, eat me. The UN tried to find information to ban private ownership of guns. And then when they finished their study, they tried to hide it because the study concluded that in Rwanda and the Sudan, where no one's allowed to own guns, all the citizens are dead because they couldn't defend themselves. I'm in shock.
He's turning into the devil in front of
us. Meanwhile, in Cody, Wyoming, how many carjackings have happened this week? None. Drive safely.
All right.
The whole point is
Ted,
more guns
equals
less crime.
We get it.
And that's where my rock and roll
We
comes.
have to
I
go
thought
to
you were saying white neighborhoods are safer.
Okay.
That I agree with.
We have to go to the phones because, you get everyone riled up. Let's say hi to Dave in Pennsylvania.
Hello, David. God bless the Keystone State.
Go ahead, Dave.
The problem with your entire argument is that the Founding Fathers never meant for any of that to be absolute. There are no absolutes in the Constitution or any of that. No absolutes.
And what's this guy's name? Excuse me 1 second. Mike? Dave? Dave, can I ask you, in your life, do you have children and family there in Pennsylvania?
I don't have any kids, no.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Obviously, you've got enough money to have a phone and a radio, so you must be a hard-working guy. So I already salute you for that. Do you think it is an absolute? I am convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is an absolute, conclusive truth that I, as an individual, have the right to defend myself right now. Do you agree with that absolute?
Yes.
Case closed. Drive safely.
Before was you have the right, if you encounter evil, that you have the right to cut them in half. You don't. You don't have that
Yes,
right.
I do. Yes,
No,
I
you
do.
don't. No, you
Of
don't.
course I do.
Define evil. Define evil. Define evil.
Evil is something that would compromise my well-being, possibly my life, or that of an innocent.
He's talking about,
evil to me.
if your life is being threatened, you have an absolute right to defend yourself, and if that means killing that.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
There's your absolute. There's an. So already we got two absolutes going.
What you may see as a threat may not be a threat at all. It may be in your mind.
No, not true. Not
It's
true.
Not a rational threat.
what Ted Nugent decides is a threat, I assure you, is a threat.
And if it's not, it'll be dealt with in court anyway.
Well, how about
Not only that, but if it's not a threat, and not only that, but Dave, will you be there to advise me?
He's out. He's out.
Yeah, you're telling me he's out. He's retarded.
Should you be able to use lethal force if your friend hooks you up with a girl and she's over 200 pounds?
I think that is lethal force.
Because that is evil.
I think tit for tat.
Hey, we got to go to Rev in New Jersey. Another one. Go ahead,
What's
Rev.
up, guys?
Hey, Rev.
Nuge, what's up, man?
I'm rocking,
I just
Rev.
want to ask you a question. You realize last time you were on the O&A show, you said the exact same speech about Bono. You're turning into a politician here with your stories. How long does it take you to study this stuff before you come out and say it?
I study nonstop every day. My life is a sponge.
You know who you are?
Information.
You take away your record career, you're Bernie Getz. Punch out, Maverick.
Pretty much. That's
Bernie Getz.
brain dead. Bernie Getz. I actually dedicated my Free For All album to Bernie Getz.
We love Bernie
and
Getz.
When Bernie Getz used the wrong ammo, I sent him a box of proper ammo. I literally, when Bernie Getz only wounded those guys, I sent him a box of good ammo.
Dude, he's a regular on our show now.
Yeah, we love
Comes
him.
in all the time.
Well, you know what's funny about Bernie?
He is nuts.
He is nuts. He thinks animals have rights, which is
Dude,
bizarre.
he would
'Cause
tell-
I saw a guy eating burgers over here.
He was telling us that his squirrel talks to him.
Of course he does. Well, you know.
What was the word the squirrel
God
learned?
knows
Stop.
what might have happened to old Bernie in prison. And once you get enough of that, I think the logic may go the way of the talking squirrel.
Yeah.
Just my thought. And not only that, but you know what? This guy that called in, let's examine how he criticized me talking about the same statement. Well, guess what? When I was a little boy, 1 and 1 equaled 2. Now that I'm 56, 1 and 1 equals 2. And if you and I are going to talk about the greasy rhythm and blues inspiration of my funk brother childhood, you know what? I would probably be redundant in articulating that as well. Because when a specific subject comes up, I think you need to put forth all the information and knowledge that you have. And I think the Bono example, when he went to relieve the third world debt, which was only relieving the tyrants and the slave drivers' debt, was so misguided and so counterproductive to bring upgrade and quality of life opportunities to those people that he claimed to be thinking about. I need to use these poignant examples anytime we talk about a given subject. And here I am with Oprah and Tony, and I think your radio show deserves the truth.
Hey, any thoughts on the tsunami in general?
Well, I'm sure I represent you and thinking people that it's horrific, it's tragic. We pray, we've sent much money, we've been involved with many charities. The Nugent family truly cares about those who are victims of problems they didn't ask for. But I think equal to the importance of sending relief and donations and making sure that we monitor our donations actually get to the victims and not some CEO of the United Way. Ooh, I said a name. Yes, that's right, the CEO of the United Way. Give up your salary, chump, and buy him some blankets. Anyhow, we also need to make sure...
How much does he make?
I think $380,000.
$380,000 a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the number I heard.
Wow.
That's
Nice
too
chunk of
much.
change, sure.
I have a Ted Nugent camp for kids, and I get nothing. I accept nothing. I would never allow anything to go into my pockets. It's a charity! Jesus! So anyhow, I think another thing that I represent here, and this may be redundant, but I think it needs repeating, it's worth repeating. We the people who know that, how about in the environment on XM satellite radio with Opie and Anthony at the Consumer Electronics Show, how about us electronic industry people hammer to get those early warning systems that have been in existence for years, that I believe were in action prior to the tsunami striking, but the information that it was almost like a Jaws scenario where the powers that be in these corrupt, hell-bent nations didn't give the warning that they had because they didn't want to interrupt tourism.
Those beaches will stay open on the 4th of July.
I think that we need to examine that. And in an electronic industry, what we should do is go, damn it, if you've got that kind of technology available, that's what we should donate to those countries, and that's what we should make sure is maintained.
I agree with you, but you know something? Screw it. I say screw it. We're already criticized for butting in and putting our noses in everyone else's business around the world. And you know something? If this happens, fine. People want to be charitable, send their money. That's fine. But as far as us doing anything more about setting up these things to help out and alert these people to get their corruption in their government straightened out so that these warnings get to people, so the money gets to people instead of in these pockets, for us to deal with that, another episode of us being the world police, and no, screw it.
And I concur with that reaction. But let me put it in perspective. At our organization, we're about activism. Our Ted Nugent United Sportsmen of America, our Camp for Kids charity, it's all about inspiring citizens of America to get involved at the school, the church, the local level, to be whistleblowers, to monitor conditions. I think if you take that to a real global awareness, that what we have to do is make sure that we hammer our elected officials to make sure that the donations and our efforts are used efficiently, and at the same time adhere to a guiding force in my life that goes like this. There's a great poem, I won't give you the whole 20-some lines, but it's called Anyway. And I think this goes by America always being the most generous and always being the most expeditious assistant to all needy causes and peoples in the world.
It doesn't start, there once was a man from Nantucket.
No, it could.
Oh, okay.
But this one goes, sometimes you give the world the best you got and you get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you got anyway. So with all the criticism,
isn't that a damn Yankees song?
That it sure should be. It should be a new one, along with our other love song. But I mean that sometimes you give the world the best you got, and you get kicked in the teeth.
Yep.
Give the world the best you got. Anyway.
So why don't you run for office? A lot of people, I'm sure, have asked you that over the years, right?
We've got a hysterical file at home. I mean, my wife Shemaine and I.
You got Arnold Schwarzenegger is now the governor of California. I think you could do a better job than Arnie.
I am absolutely convinced that I could win the governorship of Michigan.
Really?
Because I've got just an amazing file truckload of support from major players, a type of email attack on a positive.
No skeletons that would pop out of your closet, would you?
I got plenty of skeletons. I'd have fun with them. What am I going to do? Admit that I had a lot of girlfriends? Oh, yeah. Shame on me. No, I don't have any skeletons that I'm afraid to admit to.
Yeah.
Some of them are painful, and I've made terrible mistakes as a human being. I'm a perfect human being, by the way. I'm fallible.
Can you give us one of your skeletons, please? An exclusive? Just one good one?
Vicariously through Ted's skeletons?
I'm going to let you guys do your homework.
Well, we tried.
Even my skeletons
we
are
brought
just
the Courtney
funny.
Love thing, and you said
but
no.
That was funny.
So,
but that was
all right,
funny.
but give us one that.
And if I did, I mean, I would admit, I go, yeah.
How about one embarrassing story from Ted Nugent? Something that happened to you on tour.
I'll give you one of my skeletons. I once picked up a girl who I thought was a girl, and I realized halfway that she wasn't a girl.
How did we realize that?
Her back was a little larger than it should have been. She was a fine defensive end for the Giants.
God help us all. That's never happened to me. No, I can't even really think of any. I mean, I used to go to the MC5's house and the Up and the Stooges back in Detroit, and they would all be just drooling and puking and stumbling and moaning. And it was like pre-Ozzy pathetic conditions. And I would grab their joints and the hashish, and I would blow on them and make the front end light up, and they would get all upset and be very angry. But I don't think that's a skeleton. I thought I was.
You weren't doing dope. Wow! Don't let that get out.
I was absolutely a narc when I was a teenager. So no, I don't have anything to be ashamed of.
I think more of his exploits probably backstage with a few of the ladies.
Yes,
taking a few liberties with the young ladies.
I'm a married man. Shemaine owns my soul. Plus, in this electronic thing, I don't know if you know this, but I have a sponsor on my Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show on the Outdoor Channel that has a booth here. It's called the Initech Dog Training Booth, where you have an electronic collar. I happen to have one on my scrotum.
Oh, really?
Right now. Mrs. Nugent, that looks like a video camera. That's actually...
Ted, there's 5 women here.
I think
she's going to be okay.
That's actually the cattle prod to my nuts.
Yeah. Press the button.
So we're trying to ignore my past discretions.
Do you like Vegas?
I love Vegas, especially when we leave and I wave goodbye.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't seem like your cup of tea.
I come to Vegas every couple of years to go up to Elko, Nevada, to go lion hunting. I have a sunrise safaris where I guide hunters all around the country. And there's so many mountain lions in Nevada, it's just unbelievable. I guess campers and picnickers are getting gobbled up as we speak. So we go up to Elko and I kill mountain lions, so I come through Las Vegas just to wave to the idiots.
That's something I bet isn't very popular with certain people. Hunting mountain lions. They probably get
retards just can't stand it.
What I don't get that they're endangered or something.
Yeah, well, they're endangered if they're within 50 yards of my ass. I'll tell you.
Speaking of the mountain lions, this is something I've never got. You get the story in the paper, someone gets attacked by a mountain lion. Okay, sometimes they get killed, what have you, and then they have to search for the mountain lion.
Or they have to try to capture it.
No, they rarely capture it. It's always they have to kill it.
They tried, but they tried to capture it. Remember the one out in San Diego? They failed to capture it, so they had to use lethal force. Wait, you remember old Yeller? When he brought me the slippers, we gave him a biscuit. When he foamed at the mouth, we shot him in the head. What's plan B? You know, there are so many damn mountains. You know what California spent? I get so impassioned about this. Do you know since they banned mountain lion hunting in California, there have been 3 people killed, hundreds terribly injured, tens of millions of dollars of livestock destroyed by mountain lions, and the taxpayers of California pay professional hunters, which happen to be my buddies, to track down and kill these mountain lions at a higher rate than ever in the history of sport hunting. So more lions are being killed, but now it's costing taxpayers instead of bringing millions of dollars into the state. It's like Planet of the Apes. It's like One Flew Over the Retard Nest.
Why don't they just open up a lion season?
Because Sally Fields has a problem with it. No, what's the Barbara Streisand is trying to get you to line dry your clothes while she does save the environment seminars in her Learjet.
Barbara Streisand,
Planet of the Apes.
She's actually very in touch with most people's needs.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm thinking with the
You are an ass.
with they ban the mountain lions, as long as she can go to her hot tub while tax dollars go out to shoot the lion after it kills a hiker. It's so bizarre. That's why I know I'm right. I see the evidence every day. They're wrong. I'm right. There's no plan B.
But do you plan on wavering in your support of Michael Moore?
No, not a bit. In fact, to show that I'm an inclusive guy, I've written a script. I've been trying to get it to Mike. I've actually got a package. I've got a script called Bowling for Hygiene and a washcloth, but I can't get past his people. Yeah, Michael Moore. There's the kind of guy I want supporting me. You know, here's a guy who can't manage his torso, and he wants to tell us about the war on terror. Michael Moore is an absolute ape.
You don't think there were a few good points in his movie about the relationship between Bush and the Saudi family?
Not a single one.
No.
Let's put it this way. You know what's bizarre? I'm going to say this. I salute the Michael Moores mostly so that when you say, well, Ted stands for this and who stands against him? The fat guy. I mean, if I'm going to have a counterpoint, I couldn't have hired the greatest Hollywood stuntmen to create my nemesis better than a slouch like Michael drooling. I can't find the soap more. I mean, this guy is literally retarded.
But now you're a guy very well educated. You don't take anything at face value.
I was too busy going.
You're like, self-educated. You don't take things at face value. You like to research things. How come something like his film he made about Bush and the Saudi royal family doesn't kind of spark your interest to maybe look into that a little deeper and say, why did these things happen?
Well, first of all, because I had looked into it deeper before his propaganda lies came out. Now, and let's put it right here on the Opie and Anthony show on XM Satellite Radio. I, Ted Nugent, stand in support of activists who are against everything I stand for. Mm-hmm. So I salute the Michael Moores for being involved. I salute the Bonos for being involved. But these guys are such dope-smoking idiots that they are so misguided. And I know you're not allowed to make allegations of someone using narcotics, but they're dope-smoking idiots. And if you and I smoked that much dope, we think that the people of Sri Lanka would get more rice if we went and relieved the tyrant's debt. And we would paste together speeches of a great American hero like Charlton Heston, and we would claim a date that was 2 years prior to the actual speech and call it a documentary. That's where I have a problem. So I encourage, salute activism, but do your goddamn homework. Be honest. Quit pasting lies together. If you've got a point to make it honest.
Wow. That makes sense.
He's not an activist, though.
Anybody?
It's selective editing.
You're FC. I gave him too much credit. He's not an activist. He's a Hollywood wannabe, hippie emeritus that literally flushes more brain cells down the toilet than the average human being will ever accumulate in life. These people celebrate indecency and dishonesty. Michael Moore not only is fat and unclean, and that's just a personal observation, he's unprofessional, He's dishonest. He's deceitful. He's spiritless, and he is soulless. Case closed.
But one thing, though, at least he's not agenda-driven.
At least he's not. I'll give him that. At least he's not agenda-driven. You know, the guy could be the. You know, I got to tell you a little Michael Moore story. I did his TV Nation show.
Right.
He sent out. He admitted at the Detroit airport to me while shaking my hand. He admitted that they had a special meeting. He would deny this today, but he said it to me at gate C12. I'm going to guess in the early 90s, after he lost his TV Nation show and gave me credit for losing it. He shook my hand and he said, Ted, we wanted to get you. We strategized, had a special meeting. We got our wittiest, most clever, well-researched interviewers, the cockiest guys we could get, and we sent them to your farm to literally get you on the gun issue and the hunting issue. And he shook my hand and he said, quote, we did everything we could in the editing room to win. You killed us.
Why would he fess up to this?
Maybe there's a spark of Michigan soul there. Maybe he really did listen to Motown music, and in between the hippie dope fests, maybe that spark of honesty still simmers somewhere.
No, he was embarrassed that you kicked his ass, and this was his way of saying, like, putting himself on equal footing and going, well, two men of equal merit jousted, and one has bested the other.
At least I was rose to the guy, took the high road, and I admitted to it. I think what happened is that I'm an intimidating person, and especially at the Detroit airport at gate C12. And when he saw me, he knew I wasn't going to go away. He knew I was going to come right over to him and go, well, how'd you do, fatso? And so he approached me and he goes, Ted, before you say anything, it was a great night. I shook his hand in sincerity and I said, Michael, you know you're wrong. You know that hunting isn't a choice. It's essential. You must maintain balance. Renewable resources haven't got any more land to have that renewable population live on. You know what I'm doing is absolutely proper.
People that don't buy that whole thing are they're
retarded.
A minority.
They're
too.
retarded.
There aren't many people that don't understand that if it isn't
in
cold,
2005,
in some way.
In 2005, you don't understand that every year more deer are born, but there's no more new ground for them. In 2005, someone can claim ignorance to that. That's bizarre. That's just somebody's going, well, you know, the experiment with drugs. I think there's still room for trial there. I mean, you got to be Ozzy.
What do you think about Iraq, the situation we're in now?
Well,
the election's coming up at the end of the month. It doesn't look like security is any more secure than it's been since we got there.
It's ugly. It's ugly. It's ugly. But all good. Why we are here today, why these successful business blood brothers of the American dream are gazing upon Opie and Andy and Uncle Ted is because we bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and that was very ugly. But when the Japs thought they could take over the world, we had to go, I don't think so.
Some would argue, Ted, that that was a just and it was a war we needed to participate.
But my point is, I was relating that the ugliness in Iraq right now is no uglier than what we had to do to the Nazis, what we had to do to the Japs. We had to stop evil, and the stopping takes war, which is ugly, takes many, many innocent lives. And I'm sure that I'm not saying anything new or shocking to anyone here today on the radio or here in Las Vegas. But when I shared a C-130 a dozen times with Toby Keith in Kosovo, in Baghdad, in Tikrit, in Taji, in Fallujah, when we sat there on a C-130 with flag-draped coffins every other day, I don't need anybody to tell me how ugly it is. When I held Private Todd Balding's hand, I take that back. It's a euphemism. He had no hands. I was touching his bed. Tears streaming down my face. Private Todd Balding was a young black warrior, 20 years old, from Austin, Texas. I hope I'm accurate. I know it was in Texas. He was on a bed at the rushed in, I wish I could accurately make the German name of the hospital in Germany. But Toby and I went into his room, and all there was a terrifying, traumatically bloated torso of a warrior with tubes and gauze bloodier than any gut pile I've ever handled, bleeding all over the bed. He was hit dead center by a rocket-propelled grenade. And he died right there. But it's not for nothing. The people, the innocent people who were used as recreational prey by Punte and Kunte and Saddam, and these monsters who got so demonic because they could, because no one ever stopped them, were now out of the neighborhood because Todd Balding got blown to smithereens. And I was shown that with men, with Iraq men and women who held my hands, tears streaming down their face and going, God bless America. God bless America. Now we are not afraid. Thank you.
Where are those people, though? This is what my problem
is. Dan Rather turns the camera off when he goes by.
This is where I disagree, because I was over there, too, and I was for Bush removing Saddam, but the Iraqi people, where was their rebellion? The way they're killing American soldiers over there and looking at us like we're occupiers. Where was al-Sadr after Saddam Hussein murdered his father?
James?
Where was his anger at Saddam Hussein's regime? They come over because they know American soldiers are more compassionate, and they use that against the military. So I'm not all for freeing them. I get sick and tired of seeing our soldiers killed for people that hate us.
There you go.
That's what bothers me, is the reaction of the Iraqi people.
Except that, I don't know, I'm just a guitar player, folks, so bear with me as I attempt to accurately articulate a response to that, but believe me, I got one. These peoples have never been free in their lives. They've never known what being the best that you can be. They're not allowed to even think, I need to go from home to go get wood today, because they're not allowed to have gas, not allowed to have oil. They got to scrounge for chickens. These people have never, ever had a sense of open freedom. So they are scared to death that they can't manage it. This is how I read it. When we, as a white race, showed our demonacy and put Native Americans in concentration camps, I think they call them, what do they call them? Put them on reservations. In the Native American community, there is more suicide, more substance abuse, more gang rape and gang murder in that red community than in any other community in America, because they never got past the control factor. There was no Rosa Parks there. There was no Martin Luther King there. There was no defiant, I'm going to put my life on the line and go to Concord Bridge and maybe shoot a few British, but I might get killed myself. These people, James, they can't even comprehend what they're going to do once that we get rid of the evil. They're scared to death. They can't go and get the pipeline and get the fruition of their own labor.
I think you're letting them off the hook.
It's going to be a long, I don't think so. I met the people. I saw the evil in their eyes of uncertainty, and
I think helping people to find freedom in a country should come. We should only help after they initiate something, some revolution, it shouldn't be us going over there and going, you should be free, let's free you. If they're struggling, if there's some struggle that they want freedom, then by all means, if they ask for help, we should help.
All right,
but these are people that didn't have freedom. You're right, they didn't know about freedom. And you know something? It's not something that's just handed out around the world. Sometimes
you got to fight for
will
it.
Be conquered, and they need to fight for it. We did it as a country many years ago.
And France helped us.
And we were helped after that, right? After we initiated and said, hey, we need our own freedom.
At what point do you conclude that as your neighbor is being attacked and murdered and raped, at what point do you go, I ain't getting involved?
Well, at what point do you? Because then where do we draw the line for the country we don't help?
If I were in charge, Rwanda would have never happened. We would have gone there post-haste. If I was in charge, Somalia would have never happened.
I think that's crazy, too. I think that's more people that just don't understand.
And they don't, but at some point...
freedom enough to want to die for
but
it.
why are we helping people that hate us? Where's the credit? This is what bothers me about Islam and the Muslims. Where's their credit for the fact that we helped with Slobodan Milosevic, who I believe was ethnically cleansing them? Where's the love from Islam for the United States for that? All we get is that we're occupiers in Iraq, and it makes me sick.
If we could put a cantina wire fence around that isolated nation and those people so that they would just be stupid amongst themselves, I would be all for hands off. Unfortunately, they train people that commandeer our airplanes and are going to poison our food and water supplies. And in a global community, they are coming here, they are here, and at some point we got to go, holy shit. We got to intervene. We got to go back to the source of where they're training these bastards, and we got to blow the living snot out of them because it's not an isolated event. That's the difference between letting them be idiots amongst themselves and us going, holy God, the idiots are training hateful idiots and they're coming over here. Let's go kill them.
How about cutting ties with Saudi Arabia, which would end the funding?
Boy, would I love that.
Listen, we got.
If I were in charge.
Hold on. We got to stop. I mean, we could go on. We could go on for an hour with Ted, but
an hour.
At least another hour.
Months.
We have only 15 minutes left in the show, and we got to get Kevin Kennedy on the air.
Good old Kevin.
Want to thank Ted for stopping by. We got you a MiFi.
I'll take it. What is it?
Because we know you like our show, and we want you to listen to it.
My son will set this up.
It's a portable XM satellite radio.
I can't even tune my damn guitar.
All right. You guys, let's hear it for Ted Nugent. All right.
Thanks, Ted.
God bless y'all.
A quick break, and we'll be
American
back. It's the Opie and Anthony program live from Las Vegas.
What is this?
All right, what's the problem?
Oh, boy.
What's the problem?
What's the problem?
The Emperor is not happy with his coffee.
Oh, no. Are we going to have to break into,
Jim Norton. Coffee Diva.
Look at that cup. What brand is on that cup?
I don't know.
It doesn't taste good. I don't like it.
Where do we get our coffee every day?
I like Starbucks.
And
I don't like supporting the savages that run most of these delis.
You're insane.
Yup.
You betcha. You might be right.
Yeah.
What is this?
You want to taste this?
Wow, that's really nice.
Throw it against the wall.
I'm on Starbucks coffee.
You betcha.
Jim Norton. Coffee Diva.
I know Starbucks is a big world order type of thing.
At least they're not funding terrorism.
I was walking down the street and some construction guy was shouting at me, "Hey, show me your cans." So I did. And he plummeted 17 floors and was impaled on a forklift. But my tits looked great.
Please, wow responsibly. A public service announcement of the Opie and Anthony Show.
It's the O&A virus.